Before creation, a presence existed, self-contained, complete, formless, voiceless, mateless, changeless, which yet pervaded itself with unending motherhood. Perhaps I should have called it the fullness of life, since fullness implies widening into space, implies still further widening, implies widening until the circle is full. There are the four amplitudes of the universe, and a fit person is one of them. Rounding away earth, earth rounding away heaven, heaven rounding away life, the circle is full. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Now please rise in body and spirit for our next hymn, number 100.
Notice this one has ending one, ending two. We go through a whole bunch of pieces before you move on to joy. And there are, in fact, 2 more verses down the bottom.
Yeah.
So, just be ready.
That's what it's fun.
Yeah.
each time, then go back. First and second.
We try to do first and one.
I think that's. No programming.
During this season of late October, it is not unusual to see multicolored trees and to see the leaves responsible for that on our streets, in our yards, and flying through the air. It's not unusual to see pumpkins everywhere or to smell the baking of zucchini bread in our kitchens. It's also not unusual to see goblins and ghosts and witches in store windows or in our neighbors' yards. In my new town, there was a front lawn loaded with 6-foot ghosts, goblins, and monsters. Graveyards of stones with spirits coming out of the ground. You name it, it's there. It's a whole house with their whole front yard, and everybody is talking about it in the town. Have you been over to Dudley Road? Where I used to live, there was a family of skeletons every year in a circle, sitting on beach chairs and drinking beer. Now what I have is this mask. See that? Okay. I bought this mask for a friend's October birthday party. She asked that we all at least wear a mask to her party. What I learned was that with the mask on, I had an unusual comfort, and that many people there wouldn't recognize me or couldn't actually see all of me. It was an interesting phenomenon. It was a little bit unreal. In the New York Times review of the movie, The Mask, the question is asked, don't we all hide behind a mask of one sort or another? The movie, The Mask, was filmed in 1985. Based on a true story, the film starred Cher and Eric Stoltz. Cher was the mother of a boy who had a disease called craniodiaphyseal dysplasia, a long word for a rare disorder that causes cranial enlargements and skull deformity. Eric, known as Rocky in the film, is severely disfigured and is hard for many to look at, to be honest. Yet there's nothing wrong with him. He's highly intelligent, a loving, warm, and pretty normal boy for a boy in high school. He loves baseball and other sports. But no one in the film can see past his face. His exchanges with people are not authentic to who he is inside. They are not real. He can never be his true self as long as those he encountered believed that what they saw was what they were going to get. Rocky, his family, and his community, his mom's friends and grandparents, spend much of the film trying to show that he is not any different from anybody else. They want nothing more than for Rocky to be seen as his authentic self. Opposite of so many who hide behind their self-made masks, Rocky was born with a mask that he did not want. His determination to rid himself of the stigma and create real relationships took guts that we all could aspire to. Now, I used to live next to the city of Salem in Massachusetts, often called the Witch City. From its history, it is well known as the place where 19 people were put to death in the late 1690s because they were believed to be witches. 18 women and 1 man. Cavorting with the spirits during a time when people believed that a shipwreck caused by a rough sea was punishment by God was not the best idea. And from this history, Salem has become the Halloween capital of, well, Massachusetts at least. People are everywhere, literally. A friend I know who lived there could not get out of her driveway on a few occasions because of all the cars and all the people. At this time of year, it can take twice as long to get through Salem than any other time. The ride is an adventure and a bit unreal. It's not just a simple ride, it's stop and go traffic, which, we've all been there, stopping every 2 or 3 seconds. It's not just like being stuck in near normal stop and go traffic. In this instance, people are crossing in front of your car, behind your car, around your car. So you are stopping every 2 or 3 seconds for a much different reason. You don't want to run over a goblin. Right? And it doesn't seem too far-fetched to imagine that people will become crawling over the car. Perhaps this isn't so weird or even challenging. It except some of these people look like zombies, and goblins, and ghosts, and witches. Some look like Sarah Palin, George Bush, Bon Jovi, Taylor Swift. And there was one area where a small carnival with some rides, including a Ferris wheel, is there. And so Abe Lincoln on top of a Ferris wheel, well, you don't see that every day. There are a couple of streets where the stores funnel out fog to add more strangers to the atmosphere. It works. It really creates a very creepy, kind of stomach-y type of feeling. Driving through that with goblins, carrying chains, and pirates walking around certainly lends eeriness to the ride. The experience can best be described as unreal. A few of my friends decided to take the holiday to the max. With makeup skills that I lack, they emerged from the house with green faces, you know that iridescent green, pimples and warts everywhere, and wandered through the crowds and traffic of sales, playing their parts authentically and providing experiences for some that were unreal. Now, painting your face green and going out looking like a goblin with pimples and warts is fun, right? When I saw pictures of my friends, I hardly recognized them. It was a good cover. They did well impersonating something that they are not. Unfortunately, this is something that some people do every day of the year. They impersonate something that they're not. Our society is filled with people who cannot be their authentic selves because of shame, fear of reprisal, the lack of self-esteem, and many other reasons. In an earnest conversation with a friend, she told me that she doesn't see herself as authentic, that she is fake. I was surprised to hear that because we've known each other a little while, and she always seemed pretty legitimate to me. She has always experienced her as a kind, lovely person, living a very honest life. Yet she, like we all do, lives with some shame that comes from societal pressures and expectations of what is normal. What is normal? Shame causes people to isolate, causes people to become depressed, perhaps suicidal. At the very least, it causes people to be less than what they can be. Because my friend is not the normal white, mid to upper middle class male straight American, nor is she a typical white mom, she has received a subliminal message that if she were to live completely open about who she is, she would be looked at as not okay. From that, she feels inauthentic. Yet she can't be fully honest about who she is. Her fear is about putting herself in a vulnerable position. Being vulnerable, open, helps us to see that our shame has no real basis. It can both affirm it as a part of ourselves and then help us move beyond it. Author Brené Brown, a licensed social worker, doctor of psychology, wrote a book many years ago called Daring Bravery, How the Courage to be Vulnerable Transforms the way we live. The way we live, love, parent, and lead. Makes a connection between shame, inauthenticity, and vulnerability. The quote that I read earlier by Teddy Roosevelt unequivocally named vulnerability, she said. The first time I read this quote, I thought this is what vulnerability is. Not knowing victory or defeat, it's understanding the necessity of both. It's engaging and being all in on both sides. The credit belongs to the man, the quote says, and I'll throw there in there the woman as well, who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly. I'll say the quote again. The credit belongs to the man or woman who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly. So why are we afraid to be vulnerable when the rewards can be so great? Some of us, no matter how vulnerable we are, it doesn't get better. But for a lot of us, it might. As people of this faith, we subscribe to radical hospitality, radical generosity, radical behavior. We are a radical people outside of these walls, and we come from a long line of radicals. We put ourselves on the line as a matter of course for our social and political beliefs. So why, as individuals, are we hesitant to put ourselves on the line for our own spiritual beliefs? I'm not talking about spiritual Unitarian Universalist beliefs, but just our own inner person. Those beliefs, meaning the care and the feeding of our spirits, living with courage for some reason, stops here. When we truly let our guard down, take off the mask, we do open ourselves to potential ridicule. We also open up a path to connection with our true self and with each other. Because we all have that secret part of us. Everybody can recognize it in someone else. And if you share it and let it go, it creates a connection to somebody. If we can let go of the shame and the fears and be vulnerable with each other, we may just truly see each other's hearts. And then what happens is we resonate with others on a level equal to truth, compassion, and deep understanding. That's the reward. This work connects us to our spirit. It gives that divine spark that we all have, a brighter light. This is why I'm a church-going person, why I belong to this faith. And maybe that's true for you as well. How cool would it be to understand the deepest truth about yourself and love yourself anyway? And how cool would it be to allow others to see you and still feel loved? As you use, if we believe in the worth and dignity of all, then how can we not believe in the worth and dignity of ourselves? As you use, we are in this faith, in this space to connect. We promise to join together on a search for truth and meaning. We promise to share our deepest personal understandings. We must allow ourselves to be vulnerable to truly do that. Hosea Ballou said that God does not make junk. That might not be an exact quote. But what he believed was that because God is good, God can only create goodness. All of us were born with goodness. All of us. All of us were born with love in our hearts and in our souls. He believed that God would not create people to be miserable and unhappy. The purpose of life, he said, is to enjoy, and I quote, happiness and holiness. Dr. Brown believes the reason we are here is to connect with each other and ourselves. We are hardwired, she says, to connect with others. It's a proven scientific fact that people need people. It's what gives purpose and meaning to our lives, and without that, there is suffering. She calls living in true connection, living wholeheartedly, using our whole hearts. This path is the path to authenticity, and she even gives us steps to follow. I'm going to read a few of them. I won't give you the whole list, but I say again, how cool is that? She's got steps, right? What we're doing. Cultivating authenticity, letting go of what people think. Cultivating self-compassion, letting go of perfectionism. Cultivating a resilient spirit, letting go of numbing and powerlessness. Cultivating gratitude and joy, letting go of scarcity and fear of the dark. Cultivating intuition and trusting faith, letting go of the need for creativity, cultivating creativity, letting go of the need of comparison, cultivating play and rest, letting go of exhaustion as a status symbol and productivity as self-worth, cultivating calm and stillness, letting go of anxiety as a lifestyle, cultivating a meaningful work, letting go of self-doubt and supposed to, cultivating laughter and song and dance, letting go of being cool. That's hard, being cool, and always in control. Easy? No, maybe not. Possible? Sure, absolutely. Because once we begin to see it in others, then it becomes easier to practice it in ourselves. If you dare to be vulnerable with me, I will be vulnerable with you. No more answering to the subliminal shame. No more masks because I'm gay, a person of color, wealthy, young, old, handicapped, a victim of abuse, not normal. No more pretending that all of me is there when engaging. No more pretending. My dear friends, take off the mask. I'll take mine off if you take off yours. Let us, your brethren, see the real you. Share who you really are. Be who you really are. Let's live as if the world was created as a puzzle where each of us is a piece that fits in. Our authentic piece is all that fits. Without it, the puzzle goes unfinished. The world is not complete. Without all of our authenticity, the balance of the world, of all of the communities, is off. If every single one of us, every single being were normal, then the normal side would topple over. Too heavy. There would be something not quite right. We need all of those that aren't seen as normal. We need all pieces to fit in the puzzle. President Theodore Roosevelt, perhaps speaking to vulnerability, said about he who best knows in the end the triumph of achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly. May it be so. Let's begin. And now it's time for sharing our joys and concerns.
Hello, everyone. My name is Don. The joy and concern today is about our fellow person here, Reverend Dr. David H. Rankin. He's in the hospital. He's having difficulties, and he's in good hands. I understand that everybody was concerned about him and what he was doing and how he's feeling. I'm not sure about what his upcoming week will be, but at the time, we just need to pray for him. Give him the support that we need to give him to make him feel better, so he can walk out of that hospital with a smile on his face, knowing that the Unitarian Church is here. He's been very special to me because in the last 15 years or so, dealing with homelessness, he was there for me. He taught me a lot of things about respect, about love, about caring for people, about just doing the right thing. I was in a predicament where I didn't know what to do because I never was homeless before, and then all of a sudden, boom, I lost faith. But he talked to me, he listened to me, he gave me that sense of help and knowing that it's going to get better, it will. You just got to focus on it. And today I would hope that everyone would focus on giving their prayers to the Reverend Dr. David H. Rankin to begin with that. Thank you all. Good morning.
So just a little update on, of course, my mother, who, everybody knows, is still 99 years old. And she's fallen twice in the last 4 weeks. First time she got off the stairs. No bruising, no broken bones, she's fine. Second time she tripped on her rug and she broke her hip. And, yeah, so she, long story short, they wound up, it was a very clean break, they actually put 2 pins in her hip. And she went to rehab, and while she was in rehab, she had a heart attack. And took her off to the hospital, she came back to rehab, and she's walking. She came home on Friday, and she's walking with a walker up and down the stairs again, and it's just a roller coaster with this woman. She's like the Energizer Bunny, she just keeps going. So there we are, she's thrilled to be home, and I feel very relieved to be at this point. So who knows what's next?
I was a bit late. Giovanni Perez, I don't know if this is one of the houses. A 18-year-old man was shot, killed next to a house. So I don't know Giovanni. I don't know if anyone in the congregation ever met this young man, but he's passed. And however you keep people in your thoughts and light prayers. So we don't know Giovanni at 18 years old, what should be. We lost a neighbor.
Anybody else?
I'm Dale. It's been a rough week for me. Really, with all the news, you know, being a food news addict, can barely turn on the TV, and I've had to limit myself. I suffer vicariously. But I have to remember in the long run, we're evolving as a species. 200 years ago, slavery was commonplace. Women were property. Anybody who had a different gender orientation than themselves likely were stoned or killed in some other way. So as a species, we are evolving, and it gives me hope, I guess, that we'll continue to evolve. Lots happened in the last 10, 15 years that makes some people uneasy. But I think that this evolution is coming along nicely, thank you. And at least I can have that up there and sleep at night.
Hi guys. I just wanted to remind everyone that October is remembering domestic violence. For all who have worked with domestic violence, as we keep in our thoughts and prayers and kind of people that's going through it and part-timers have to remember it or celebrate the recovery or remember that domestic violence.
I just want to say it's really nice to have all the people in the congregation. It's really nice to see gratitude.
I would just like to share our thoughts for the people in Israel on both sides, people who are losing their lives and their families. That we can continue to have moments of silence for them this week and keep them in our thoughts. And also any of us on Joy's concerns, maybe we could go in our thoughts as well. Spirit of life and spirit of grace, rest with us this day in this place. We lift up every joy, every gladness. We hold up every hurt, every sadness, spoken in this good community, as well as every secret feeling held in quiet hollows of our heart. Amen and blessed be. Please remain seated for our hymn number 123. Spirit of
Spirit of life, come unto me, save my heart, all concerns, faulty passions, blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Let us join in silence. Amen. Now, as many have said, the offering is a way to express our care for our church. It can also be an expression of how we care for ourselves. When our church home flourishes, so do we. Please be generous today. Go in peace, my friends. Live simply, gently, at home in yourselves. Act justly. Speak justly. Remember the depth of your own compassion. Forget not your power in the days of your powerlessness. Do not desire to be wealthier than your peers, and stint not your hand of charity. Practice forbearance. Speak the truth or speak not. Take care of yourselves as bodies, for you are a good gift. Crave peace for all people in the world, beginning with yourselves, and go as you go with the dream of that peace alive in your heart. May it be so. We do have coffee. I don't know if there's any treats, but we have coffee for anybody who would like to join us on coffee. Please join me in just a few words of when it goes up, it will signify